But yeah, 50 now. Okay, great. So guys, a lot of you are already following Chris Kirchhoff. I tagged him prior to the video, and if you guys DM me afterwards, you could, but it's at Chris Kirchhoff. It's and he same name on Facebook and Instagram. Chris has been one of the guys on the forefront of all of this with just before the censor wars going on. You know, you were one of the first guys that I knew of that was speaking out on all of the really important topics and also just the hot topics that people didn't like to touch. You spoke on all of it. So you're really one of my favorites, and you're a writer. Chris is the author of So You're Going to Have a Baby. It's one of the top recommended books in my lineup. You know, I recommend it even more than my own, which was like, after people got my book, they're like, okay, great, but is there a book that I'm like, yeah, I go get this one. This one's packed with information. So
that's good. All
yeah,
good.
It's all good. I know that was just really random, but so how are you guys doing over there? You are in, can I say the state you're in?
Yeah.
You're in Texas.
Yeah, we're in Texas. You know, for the most part, I think things are pretty normal here. That, you know, with all things, I feel like Texas holds their ground to kind of be the last kind of stand for a lot of things. In my opinion, and for the most part, things have been normal here. You know, despite what even we're not immune to government and media propaganda saying that, you know, everything's closed down, stay at home, do this, do that. But yet you go out and, you know, we live fairly close to a metropolitan city. So when you go into town, there's traffic everywhere.
Yeah.
So clearly no one's, you know, for the most part, isolating. The only things that have really closed here are gyms and, you know, dine-in restaurants. Other than that, virtually everything was deemed essential, or has stayed open. I just feel like nothing's really changed except for, you know, seeing more people in masks now. But I don't think you can avoid that no matter where you go. People are kind of giving into that. But other than that, life is pretty normal, I'd say.
Yeah. What do you think about the mask thing? You think it helps?
No, I think absolutely. You know, we could go a lot of different directions talking about this whole coronavirus thing. But if you're going to buy into the theory that this is a real virus, I mean, the data on it would say that, you know, you're at almost no risk at all. Masks have been proven to be ineffective. You know, I see it more of just a social conditioning test. You know, making you distance yourself from your fellow person. I always say, you know, you look at how many people are truly waking up to a lot of things, and what better way to distance people than cut them off from each other, especially your family, your friends. Say, don't visit them. Now you're going to wear masks so that, you know, everyone's identity is kind of concealed. It just makes you more of a stranger to everybody else. Stay 6 feet away. Don't host any kind of gatherings. And so, you know, no matter what's fact or fiction with this virus, what I think is 100% true is the distraction. You know, the distraction is always there. They always have something in mind. You look at, you know, with Event 201, you know, planned in advance, you know, a well-oiled distraction to keep everyone looking at whatever they want people to look at versus actually rising up, seeing what's going on, waking people up, all those kind of things.
Yeah. And initially, when did you know that this was something, not so much the virus to take seriously, but like that this was going to be serious? You know, the whole, gosh, they're actually having people stay indoors, and everybody's really buying into this. And
you know, I always say, like, I always like to believe that things aren't as bad as they're perceived until I saw the toilet paper madness, and you see how, like, what percentage of the population truly just at a whim, like no matter what happens, as soon as they're told something from the government, from the media, they're like, that's the truth. That's the truth. I'm not going to question it. And then they just panic. And it was like, you know, that was like at least 6 weeks ago, maybe longer, that people were already freaking out. And I remember I went into Costco and they had no toilet paper, no water. People were just like, they didn't even know what they were doing. You'd see people with like the cart that had like the the open cart or whatever, like the flatbed type one.
Yeah.
They were just like stacked with all this stuff, no rhyme or reason to anything. Didn't know what they were doing. They just knew that, oh, this is scary. So I'm supposed to do this. And it's just,
that's kind of when
it's
it
almost
hit you.
like that's the most frightening aspect isn't what they tell you. It's what you witness everyone else doing.
Yeah.
And the panic and the fear that they give into.
Did it make you want to go and stock up when you saw that, or were you just like, this is insane?
No, I mean, I did a post on this, and I think that I think I mentioned it on the live that I did, but I think that there's a healthy way to always be prepared, and you should always be ready, because I think if you look at history, the government is never to be trusted. They've gone against our trust so many times, and that the events that they orchestrate, the false flags, the look at the things that they do to poison us, the corruption. So should always be prepared. That way, no matter what happens, if it's real or fake, that you'll be prepared. And so, for the most part, we were already there. Like, there's nothing really needed to rush out and buy. We've kind of already prepared ourselves for the most part for whatever's coming.
Was it you that, it had to have been you that posted like your water situation over there? Do you have like, it's just a collection method for like rainwater and stuff, and then you can just filter it from there. But is that legal to do in Texas? Is that legal to collect rainwater? Or
I don't know. I don't care. I think it is. I know that there was that whole, we've seen this stories. Certain states, they can't collect rainwater, but it's like there's nobody that enforce these things. It's just like this. Like, there was an order, I think, within Austin, where they said you had to wear a mask. The mayor was like, we're requiring you now to wear a mask. You go out and maybe 1/3 of people wearing a mask. Like, how are you enforcing, these things? Who can check them? This is the same like that. There's nobody just because you're told something doesn't mean that, even if it's true, that anyone can enforce it.
Yeah.
But I look at things that you should always have, and water. I mean, you can't live without it. Your body is comprised primarily of water. So, water, ways to self-sustain your food, those kind of things are always going to be a primary. So that was just one thing I wanted to point out to people, that it's really easy. Collect your water, filter it, simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know a lot about water, and you know what they're spraying us with, and so you have to be filtering out even rainwater for sure. But yeah, well, that's good that you guys were already pretty much set, and I like that mentality too of I don't know, it's not something you'd have to go and ask permission for. Actually, just do it. You're not in one of those HOA run type places, or
what's that?
You're not in like an HOA run type place, or. Good for you. Really good for you. That's wonderful. What are your thoughts then before we jump into like CBD type stuff, what are your thoughts on like what's going on with Bill Gates, that it seems really clear that so many people are already like awake to the agenda of Bill Gates, but the media is not touching it.
The one bright spot, you watch and you go to like any of his social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and like he is getting roasted. Like, so many people are just like, hitting him and dropping some serious like truth on there. That's been really surprising. But I think that somebody like him, he has exposed himself so much for what he is. You can't dabble in like 10 different agendas and not think that people are going to wake up. The guy has a family history, ties to Planned Parenthood. We know that he's a monster supporter and funder of Monsanto, genetically modified foods. We know what he's done internationally with vaccines. The disaster that happened in India with the oral polio vaccine causing tens of thousands of cases of paralysis, all documented and distributed by the Gates Foundation. The guy dabbles in 5G. I have some information coming out that he's a primary shareholder in a company that installs 5G towers. So he literally dabbles in every single agenda that's out there. And
every depopulation agenda, it sounds.
Yeah, right. And then you look at his connection to the World Health Organization. And I know there was a big story about, the United States not funding the World Health Organization, which to be honest is completely irrelevant. It wasn't as shocking information as I think people want it to be, because they're just going to get funding from somebody else, Gates Foundation, whatever, where you're just going to see somebody like that become the forefront. I want people, a decade from now won't be like the World Health Organization told us this, like the Gates Foundation told us this, and they merge together or whatever kind of crazy things happen. So
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, he dabbles in kind of a little bit of everything, and sooner or later that just catches up with you.
Yeah, he seems to be the common denominator in all of that. I had no idea that I'm not shocked, but that's insane that he's also dabbling in 5G all the more.
Yeah.
All the more. And I think that'll be the talk for like next week if you have time. I really want to do the whole breakdown of like the 5G.
And his connection to, anyone can look up these articles. He was funding Harvard and other places that wanted to do geoengineering research. So he's trying to now get into this whole chemtrail thing and be like, look at how we can save the planet, even though they've been spraying the skies for decades, and now they want to act like it's some new thing that hasn't been going on. But he dabbles in that too.
Yeah, it's terrible. And then he got involved in Common Core, which was a disaster. He's just
I
he's
forgot
terrible.
About that one. Yeah.
Terrible. But yeah, well, still the media is not talking about it, so to them that's not going on. But in the meantime, does it? I don't know. Do you think that there's going to be an end in sight to this, like this?
I think it's coming. I think the overall message that they've delivered here is just how easy people really will, corral themselves, how easily that they'll comply with whatever they're told, conforming, staying inside, wearing the mask, all these kind of things. So, I see a shift where things are going to start to move back to normal here. But I think that, this is it's going to be like a long distraction. You're going to hear about this. You're going to hear about this throughout the summer. You're going to hear about this in the fall, whether or not they want to, revisit this whole thing next year and be like, look at this, or now we have to do this for the flu or whatever the case may be. But I think it's clear that wherever they want to take this, I think the majority of people are ready to just, give into it.
Yeah. No, that's the scariest part is how people are acting, for sure. And that what they're willing to give up is kind of what's troubling with that. So, yeah, it hasn't cut us here. We're still on, and I guess I wanted to now move to some CBD talk with you, because I know that it's been something you've been doing now because you work from home, clearly. You do TRS as well, and you introduced us to this amazing CBD. What brought that into your life? Like, what was the...
Yeah, CBD, so we're going on, I think this industry is like I've done it for like two and a half years. HEMPWORX with like 2 years. When I first started, like CBD was just something that a lot of people were talking about. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. And I tried a couple different companies, didn't really notice anything. I'm like, this isn't for me. And I already had probably some predetermined like stereotypes and prejudice to thinking that it wasn't going to help me, or that, it was a hype, or it's going to get you high, or all these things. And I didn't do my due diligence at the time on it. And so, I tried a few, nothing really happened. And then a friend of mine, Matt Perna, somebody that I highly respect, ultra marathon runner, super healthy guy, came to me and said, I want to talk to you about this company, this CBD, let's just do a video call. Let me talk to you about it. And I was like, sure. We talk all the time. I'm like, can't hurt. So he kind of ran over things, the company, the product, the compensation plan, the business, the whole thing. And I was just like, you know what, I'll give it a try. So I said, this is somebody who is, as healthy as they can be. Like I said, does ultra marathon runs, and he thinks that he's seeing a benefit. I'll try this one. And honestly, it was night and day versus everything else that I had tried. Just the way that my body felt, the way I was sleeping. The biggest difference, I'll tell anyone at the time, dog that I had, 12-year-old Alaskan Malamute, was just like, he went from not being able to basically move very well, his joints were deteriorating, to we were doing 45-minute walks every day again. Like, he literally was like, he became, like a 6-year-old dog again, and extended his life for another year, which forever grateful for. And I always tell people, people can believe, you believe whatever you want, whether you think a person is being genuine or not. But when you see, you see an animal, you see one of your pets make a change like that, and they have nothing to gain from it financially, that, you can't overlook that. And so that was all within a couple of weeks. It was just miraculous at the time. And then I started to learn a lot of different things. That was when I really dove in. I was like, all right, I want to pursue this business. This oil is clearly helping us. And then I just realized a lot of things early on. Like one of the big things that we talk about all the time, that HEMPWORX preaches, is their documentation. Third-party documentation. It's available, readily available, not only on the site, but now we've moved to where there's the downloadable QR code on the back of the bottle that goes directly to the testing for that batch. So then I went back and I'm looking at these previous ones that I tried, and there were several that they had no testing and documentation, or it was like a secret. We'll email it to you. Or it was like you had to jump through hoops to get it. Some didn't have it at all. So, and then when you did read it, once I actually learned how to read a third-party analysis, you're like, wait a minute, I'm seeing things that I didn't want in a product. And then a big difference I always think is some of these companies were in isolate, meaning that it was just CBD. Versus when I jumped to HEMPWORX, I immediately got on the full spectrum. So all of the cannabinoids, including THC, and that was when, again, diving into my research, learning the difference, learning that the THC in hemp is not psychoactive. So you're getting all of the benefits of the different cannabinoids, including THC, without getting that high. And your body has all these receptors, CB1 receptors primarily in the brain, and then CB2 receptors throughout the rest of your body, your immune system and such. And in order to effectively hit all of those, really do want to be on the full spectrum. So that was a big difference. I looked at other products that I had used and they were just isolates. HEMPWORX doesn't even have an isolate anymore. We either have a full spectrum or a broad spectrum. And the broad spectrum has all of the cannabinoids, just not THC, where again, an isolate is only CBD, where there's other components of CBD that are in our broad spectrum. So a big difference there. It was something that, I wasn't expecting. The business has been life-changing as well. And I think a lot of that is because the products, most people that, use the products, they're like, we saw a difference versus other products that didn't. So forever blessed.
So it's something then that it's pretty much part of your daily routine, taking CBD.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those supplements that I think you have to use it daily. You have to take consistently. It's all, you think about this, it's one of my posts that I never put my name on. I'm like, I don't really want credit. This was one though that I was like, I kicked myself for not putting it, where I said, your body doesn't have an ibuprofen system or, whatever medication. Your body doesn't have that system. Yeah. But your body has an endocannabinoid system. Yeah. So your body is designed to work with this plant, designed to work with this oil. It's not designed to work with ibuprofen, oxy, whatever medications the pharmaceutical industry puts out. Yeah. Those are all synthetic medications. Your body only has one endocannabinoid system. So it's designed, it's something that you're supposed to be taking. It's helping your overall wellness, bringing your body back to homeostasis. And I think to see the biggest difference, it's something that you do need to use daily. Yeah.
So what again then, for those that are new to the idea, what is the difference between the full spectrum and the broad spectrum? Because they are same price and, obviously same flavors come in it. And
the broad spectrum is CBD and all of the CBD cannabinoids. So there's like CBD, whatever. There's a whole bunch of them, basically. That's the simplest way to put it. Where the full spectrum just adds THC. Broad spectrum has no THC, but all of the other cannabinoids. Okay. Full spectrum, all of the cannabinoids, including THC. And again, to hit some of those CB endocannabinoid receptors in the body, you do need that THC. But the nice thing again is you're not getting that higher. There's no negatives. There's only, as I call, side benefits to using CBD.
Yeah, so there really are no bad side effects with CBD. Have you heard of any? Is there what could somebody expect if they were taking a full spectrum? What side effects can they expect?
I don't think there are any, honestly.
Meaning for negative side effects?
Nothing.
Haven't heard anything reported?
No.
Is it something you can overdose on?
Again, I don't know what the upper limit is. I can tell you in HEMPWORX, a full serving, I believe is 20 drops, 1 milliliter. I've done 200 in a day and felt just fine. So with all things, it's kind of for anyone that's listening that, dabbles with TRS at all, people want to be like, well, I'm starting on a half spray or spray. I've drank an entire bottle before. Lauren drank an entire bottle on a live that I did in my group. So,
I didn't see that. I did not see that.
Has been tested and proven.
I might have to now. Maybe I could attempt a half a bottle of TRS or something. Just to
let me say this for people too. Like if we're just talking about any supplement, and since we're talking CBD, we're talking detoxing. Like a lot of things people need to understand could be they're in their head. A lot of times people get in their head where they anticipate, I'm going to see something negative, and if you want anything, if you want side effects from something, if you want them, they're going to be there. That's just the way the mind works. And I'll reference a study that honestly the pharmaceutical industry did, but they tested a chemotherapy. And we know how toxic that is to the body. And so group A, chemotherapy, group B got saline pumped into their veins. Group B, who got saline, people were throwing up, people's hair fell out. So if you want to know how powerful your mind is, that group believed that they were on chemotherapy and their hair fell out, but they were getting saline. So that's how powerful the mind is. So if you start taking something and you have a negative connotation around it, or you're expecting it's going to harm you in some way, you're going to manifest those symptoms.
Yeah. Likewise,
if you have a belief that something can help you, and you have that mindset, then it can only help you that much more than it already was. So just a small little lesson on mindset for everybody.
Right. I don't even want to do, if people are already paranoid, let's say just about the detox, I just kind of tell them like, you know what, maybe you shouldn't, because that's like the last thing you want to deal with is somebody detoxing and then like going through the emotional aspect of detoxing and then going through like the paranoia too. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with that. So, because then you're going to be on like
CBD is generally easier to get around than that. Cause again, you have the internal, system behind it, and it's not already having it like detoxing already has a negative connotation, where I think CBD doesn't really have anything negative surrounding it. So
yeah.
It doesn't really get in people's heads as much.
Well, there are people, if it's new to them, the first thing that they think of is this going to get me high? Right. And you're saying that the THC is so low that there's no high from it.
It's a different version. So like you have the cannabis plant, you have hemp, and then you have marijuana. And the THC in marijuana is psychoactive, where the THC in hemp is not. So they're just different.
Yeah. Okay. So when did you started taking it about 2.5 years ago? You said your dog was taking it too. And did you just went straight to the full spectrum?
We went straight to the full spectrum. At the time, I want to say we did just the original, like the natural flavor. And I haven't deviated from the full spectrum. If I use the broad, actually, then it's probably like the gummies that we have.
Yeah. So you won't you pretty much keep to the full. We keep with the full too. Yeah. I think people who get concerned with that are the people that for work reasons, if they're thinking like they might get tested. Yeah. Have you heard of anything coming up like positive from a work test?
I haven't, but I mean, it goes like this. Like you can't say it's not possible. It all has to do with, and everyone's different. This is, it's a nice thing and sometimes bad thing, but everyone is different. So it all comes down to how your body metabolizes the CBD and in particular the THC. Some people just don't metabolize it as quickly. So it might linger in your system, and then that would create a positive test. But honestly, if I had to ballpark it, I'd say that's like 1 in 10,000 people.
Okay. But it's really rare.
So what I say is if you're really concerned, don't blame us, then just go with the broad spectrum,
Mm-hmm. That's the one with the white cap. So that yes. That it has no THC. So CBD oil is legal now in all of the country, right?
Yeah. 2018, 2019 Farm Bill. So it's federally legal. Federally legal in all 50 states. Has been for a few years. The interesting thing, again, you can look at CBD and see the same exact things that are happening now with the coronavirus happen with all things. So the media, poor journalism, misreporting, and then people, again, not doing their due diligence. They just read an article and maybe they interpret it wrong, or again, it was bad information. And there's that must be true. They'll be like, someone will come to me and be like, CBD is illegal in my state. And then you actually go through the information and they're talking about CBD from marijuana, not CBD from hemp, which is hemp is legal in all 50 states. Or what's interesting is before I moved to Texas, I had somebody come to me and say, our small town is the local law enforcement is harassing people about hemp CBD, saying it's illegal. So I call first person I talk to. It's like, it's illegal. We're issuing citations. So then I'm like, can I talk to your boss? And so on and so forth. And went through half a dozen calls, got to the director of narcotics for the state, and he laughed. He said, no, it's completely legal. So again, there's people, there's a chain of communication that gets broken. Law enforcement people think that they can go rogue, do whatever they want. Again, media reports bad things, but legal in all 50 states. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be shipping to every state as we have again for several years.
Okay, so what's wrong there is that it, like a bad game of telephone, people are assuming that it's marijuana when you say CBD. They're just thinking
right. And again, even like down to local places, that there are people that just, even though you would think as widespread as CBD is becoming, you see it in gas stations now, but there are still people that they don't know, even the local law enforcement, their narcotics plate, they don't know the difference between hemp and marijuana, which they should. And that's just, it's unfortunate, but
yeah. I know I've had some questions that came in before we started this where people were asking, is there a huge difference between water-soluble and fat-soluble CBD? Do you have clearly you have a preference, but I'm assuming you've tried it and you have an answer for that, because
Yeah, I mean, I guess, CBD is a fat soluble substance. So it makes sense that you would have a carrier oil that is a fat, and some kind of oil. We use a hemp seed oil. Unfortunately, with a lot of things, companies come up and they need to distinguish themselves, differentiate themselves from the competition. They need a shiny object. They need something new. That's why you'll see water soluble, liposomal. They literally make up marketing words that mean nothing. No studies, no scientific data to support any of the information. Sleight of hand things, like, for example, a company might say ours absorbs faster. Okay. But what they didn't tell you is it also left the body 10 times faster. So, people that were looking for, relief from whatever, anxiety or issues with their body, joint pain, things like that, it left their body so much quicker. So now you're left with, you didn't get the relief you were looking for. You end up taking, 5 times as much oil because it didn't stay in your body. It didn't absorb. You didn't have that fat soluble oil to help transport it into the body. So it's just a lot of marketing.
Yeah. Okay.
Nonsense, misinformation. Again, there's nothing to back any of those things. I would only use a CBD that has an oil as a carrier oil.
What are your other requirements? Like if you were if you're new to this, like what else should you be looking out for? Like money back guarantee, made in America. Like what are the other?
The money back guarantee is like, it doesn't get any better. See, it does not. This is fact. Like I've never seen a company that does 60 days. If there's another one, like I'd love to hear it. But we had 30, we went to 60. That's essentially letting you try an entire bottle and probably then some to really know if it's for you or not. And that really gives people an opportunity where there's no reason not to try it. You're like, can this help me? You have 60 days, empty bottle, money back guaranteed to give it a try. I just think that's a huge benefit, but a lot of it comes down to the testing and documentation. So when you look through testing, what you're looking for is that the final product does not contain heavy metals, does not contain any pesticides, herbicides, any mold. And one of the problems is there's no organic certification for CBD. So what you're looking for though is you trace the farm and say, are they using organic practices? And again, that'll show up in the third party analysis, because if there's pesticides and herbicide residue in the final product, then clearly they weren't using those practices. But those are things that need to be completely non-existent in the final product. And the big one for me is not using any kind of solvents. So with HEMPWORX, we use CO2 extraction, which is the most expensive extraction method. They put in the most money to make sure that it's being extracted the best way possible, where a lot of companies will use a solvent to kind of break apart their products. So you would see like ethanol, acetone, and these are highly toxic substances. And the unfortunate thing is when you use a solvent to get your CBD, that's going to be left over in the product, and that'll always show up in a third-party analysis too. And I don't care what anybody says. If that shows up in your final product, if the company says, well, it's just this amount, trace amount, those are class 1 carcinogens. So if you want to, if you're looking at taking a supplement that's supposed to help you, that's supposed to improve your wellness, how can something help you that has a class 1 carcinogen, that has toxic chemicals in it, that has heavy metals or mold or pesticides in it? Those are things that can only hurt you. So it's counterintuitive then to accept any of that from a product on any level. People go, that's a trace amount. No amount. Like if you're paying money for a product to help you, you shouldn't accept any of that.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. And and like you said, it's all in the QR reader on the bottle, so people can go and check it themselves.
Right.
See exactly where it came from. And so is CBD oil safe for kids?
Safe for everybody.
Safe for everybody. Kids, pets, all of that.
Safe for everybody.
Let's see. Oh, somebody on here is asking. I'm sorry, you guys. Let me see some of these questions here. Someone is asking, how do you know what to take? 500, well, I'm sure you meant the 750 or 1500. How would you know what to take?
So really with everyone, I just tell everyone to use the 500. It's the easiest one. What people don't understand is that a 500, a 750, a 1500, they're all just, what you're looking for is how many milligrams of CBD are in each serving. So they're just an increment of how much CBD is per serving. So you take a 500 and you take a full serving, you take 3 servings of it in a day. If you did like a morning, afternoon, and night, you took 3 servings of it, you just took a 1500. You just took 1 serving of a 1500. So There are easy ways to calculate if you want to do more. You're like, okay, I did a 500. I want to see if a 750 helps. You just do 1.5 doses. You know what I mean? You can do the math. So really, you don't need to buy a 750 or a 1500. You can do it all from the 500. And if you're like a dose and a half, which is a 750, help me, or I did 3 doses and I really like, the 1500 milligram, and buy that the next time if you want to make it simple. But start at the 500, and it's just much easier to adjust from there than say, I'm going to start with the 1500 and then try to do half doses and things like that. It's just easier to start with a 500. Got
it. Okay. But for somebody who's going through a little bit more pain, let's say, like for me, my hips, I have pain every time the weather changes, and due to an epidural that I had almost 10 years ago, and the doctor didn't tell me about that side effect, but 6 months later he was like, oh yeah, that can happen. Like when the weather changes, you can get, and so the only thing that has helped that hip pain for me was the CBD. That's like why I'll continuously take it. But my hip pains, I never really had. I don't have during the day, like when I'm just it's not that kind of pain that it's unbearable that I even have to stop to really think about. It's when I lay down at night that I feel the pain. And so for me, the 500 was perfect and fine for me. My dad, he was dealing with a little bit more health issues and problems, and he had, diverticulitis, and his pain he would feel all day long, and he found that the 750 helped him more because, he didn't have to really play around with dosing. So, I mean, if somebody's like feeling pain all day long, would you recommend going up at all, or just taking more of the 500 still?
Yeah, I mean, I have people that are like that, and they swear by like the 1500. They're like, that's the one for me. But, if you start with a 750, you start with a 1500, then if you're doing like a full dose, you're never going to know. And I'm always, I want people to get the most out of their product. Obviously a 750, a 1500 are more expensive. I'm a less is more person. So if you don't start with less, you'll never know. So, if you start with 1500, but 500 would have done it for you, then, you'd spent more money than you needed to.
That's true.
It's just easier. Like I said, you can go up quickly, start doubling your doses and things like that from the 500, and you'll know. But I can't think of a time where I've never not recommended somebody start at 500.
Okay. That's really great advice to just start with the 500. Let's see. Somebody has something for it. Does it ship to the UK? It does, right? Just Canada or no? I know Canada's a no.
Yes. No, the UK might just be a broad spectrum. I have my fingers crossed for Canada. They have a whole kind of internal battle with Health Canada, which is their version of the FDA.
Yeah, I was trying to send combos out, and then the girl was trying to give me a Canada address, and I was like, "Oh no! I can only send you TRS if anything, but it's actually cheaper for you to just order from the TRS site." Someone is on here asking what kind of, if they want to be a distributor, what kind of upline support and help can they expect
Right.
with the company?
I mean, you can kind of touch on what we do for that. I mean, we've done Zoom calls, whenever people need it. We definitely, the fastest way to get a hold probably of us, you go through your messenger. We have our business building group. I mean, there's plenty of ways where if you want direct answers, they're going to be there for you quick. And I think that there's plenty of good information in the business building group and such for, trainings and, just information to kind of get people going.
Yeah, it's a lot. I can fill you guys in on that one for a little bit. There's like 3 to 4 calls a week that you're not required to attend, but they're there. And there's some on Sunday nights. There's Monday. Any of the upline, they'll reach out to you if you need any help. If you want to do lives with them, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, things like this, like you would have that help. I think everybody in my upline is pretty much doing this full time. It's like become their full-time thing. So they're available for all of that. And corporate is available Monday to Friday, right? Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. They're available.
6 to 7.
Oh, it's 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sorry. Wow, that's awesome. And that's, so they're available to help with that. And they now have did you ever get in touch with them with what they were doing in corporate? Because remember I told you, I was like, somebody from Nevada had contacted me.
Yeah, they called me too.
I think it's just additional support, right?
Yeah, it was just an extra line of communication. I'll tell people this, like if you're interested in the business, one of the nice things with this company and CBD in general is it's like, I feel like it's like the least like pushy business ever. It's like you have a product that there are facts that can't be denied, where other products and industries, like it's like, is this true? Is this not true? Your body has an endocannabinoid system. That is a fact. So your body is designed again to work with this oil. So you can try it, you can deny it, whatever, but it's there to help you. It really is. And the overwhelming amount of research, like if you were to simply go on a search engine and put in CBD and fill in the blank, you will not only find an article, I guarantee, for whatever you put in that search engine, you're going to find documented, published research to back that. And while the FDA kind of sucks at the pharmaceutical teat, like there's so much information out there on CBD that it's becoming overwhelming to the point where they can't deny it. They'll be like, you can't say that CBD helps with anxiety, depression, whatever, but yet there's 30 studies that show that it crushes the pharmaceutical, industry's medication on those things. So, a company that has a 60-day money-back guarantee, that has a product that's designed to work with your body, like it's really all you have to do is put the information out there. I don't have to try to force CBD down anybody's throat. Like you either want to try it or you don't, and you can find out for yourself. But it's just a great industry to be a part of.
Especially now, and it's just booming. Like I feel like so many people are turning to that. They're turning away from their pharmaceutical products and they're looking for other alternatives.
If ever there was a time to move away from pharmaceutical products, no matter how you're feeling of this, you're looking for something that's going to, help you feel better, improve your kind of overall wellness, mental wellness, whatever. This is, no matter how you look at the situation, this is a tough time. I have moments in the day where I'm like, gosh, I don't know what to think anymore, and it gets me down. I don't like seeing 50 people wearing masks when I go out. Like even that affects me. So you have a product that can help you. It's a much better alternative than pharmaceutical intervention. And if we're talking about a business, I can't think of a better time to realize that working from home, working from your phone, what an opportunity. And even if it's not, if you have a job that's still essential, or you're going to be able to go back to your job, whatever, it's extra money. It's a side hustle. You never have too many streams of income. And maybe it becomes the business where you can, turn in that resignation form and be like, I'm out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because that's definitely happening for a lot of people. So let me see if there's other. So typically it's a $20 for the year to enroll if you wanted to distribute. If you just want to buy the product, you can buy the product at the prices and through the website. But if you wanted to distribute, they usually require $20 a year. currently they're
One time.
a one-time fee of $20. Sorry. But currently they've waived that fee.
We have 2 more weeks. I think we go until May 1st. They've waived the $20 enrollment.
So somebody can go online today, they can buy a bottle and already get a link.
Correct.
Okay, wow.
So I would say like this, like if you're thinking about trying the product, it offers it to you when you're checking out. Do you want to be a distributor? Do you want to be a customer? There's no difference right now because the price is the same. There's no $20 enrollment fee. So, you could take advantage. You could become part of the business, and then you try the product and you like it, things are going well, then you're already active. You have, a back office, websites, things like that are already ready, and you could just take off with it.
Okay, yeah. It does take a few days for them to send you like packets and info, just extras, obviously the product that you ordered. What are the additional requirements then, like from somebody who is purchasing their bottle, and what should they try to be doing monthly? Like what, in order to maintain the affiliate position, right?
So, like all companies, you have to have a monthly personal purchase. There are different levels for, you can come in at a higher rank. Different parts of it brings you in at a little different spot on the compensation plan. There are just different aspects. The minimum is a one product purchase, but for most people, they're already using the product. Most people like it, so like you're gonna order it anyway. You're gonna use it. You can always sell your personal product too.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Not sure what else to say on that.
Yeah. So pretty standard. Let's see. Someone said agree with FDA approval. If something isn't approved by the FDA, to me it means it's good. Okay. Should one dose work for a full day? It really depends, I think, on the person and what it is that you're dealing with. But I guess you would recommend just starting with like very minimum in the beginning, like a few drops.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think you can get up to the full dose pretty quickly. I mean, I would feel confident telling people like if a full dose is a milliliter, I think you can start with a half.
Yeah.
But you kind of hit it. It does depend on what you're looking for. It might be something where you want to split your dose and do a morning and evening thing. People come to me and they're like, I just want to sleep better. And it's like, now we're talking about probably just taking it for bed. Some people take it in the morning and they get relief the whole day just from that one dose. So, everyone's just individualized, and you just kind of find that sweet spot for yourself and how much to use, when you like to take it, those kind of things.
Okay. Somebody had asked earlier in this, like, it's safe to take while pregnant. Like, I know that there's already studies on that out there, but it's completely safe to take while pregnant.
It's another, to me, the answer is yes, but, you have to feel comfortable with that decision. It would be like the same thing as the person who's like, can I take the full spectrum, but I'm going to get drug tested for work?
Yeah, it's yes,
but you have to feel comfortable in that decision. Same thing if you're pregnant.
Okay, sounds good. Did you guys have any more questions for Chris right now? For us, we've been using it since last spring already, so a little over a year. And like I said, my issues were mainly my hip pains that I would get at night, especially when the weather would change, and those have gone. And, for Jeff, it was like anxiety and things like that.
Back and knee pain.
Chronic back and knee pain that... he's noticing a lot of benefits with that. I'm curious as to what you've heard about cannabis hemp allergy sensitivity. I have a friend who says these plants are cross-reactive to her gluten allergy. Have you heard of that?
I have not. And actually, the CEO of our company has an issue with gluten. What is celiac?
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons that, they started the HEMPWORX brand.
Yeah.
And one of the things that helped her immensely was taking CBD. So no, I have not heard anyone have an issue with that.
Yeah, Jenna's story is pretty great. She started HEMPWORX. The company was already My Daily Choice. They had other products, and she was going through celiac and taking CBD oil, a different kind, right? And then just, did she practically cure her celiac disease? Like, it's gone.
Yeah,
I don't, you can't say that, right? But
I think she's actually said that too.
she'll
On
just
a
be
lot
like, yeah. That's actually my favorite part about this company. Not just the 60-day money back guarantee, not just like all the third party testing and I love that the owners are pro medical freedom, and you know, they're not going to be that type of, you'll never have that kind of upline with this company that's going to be like, hey, you can't say that. So that was a big deal for me too. Like because I've been following Chris for the longest time, and he would promote, you know, his CBD, and then he'd have like 10 posts of just like all the things you're not allowed to talk about on social media. And I was just like, you know, I have friends who've been in other marketing, and they can't talk about that kind of stuff because they're worried that somebody is going to be like, stop. So, so that part also like drew me to it. And I was like, there must be something with this. So do you have to use prophylactically or as needed? Do you have to use it? Yeah, it's just something that you would want to take daily. Becomes part of your daily routine. So, yeah, we've already answered that. Will it show up as positive on the test? My job requires annual drug tests. There is a broad spectrum version that has no THC at all that might be better for somebody that has, you know, the kind of job that's going to be doing testing like that. So, yeah. Well, if there's nothing else for this, then we can stop there with the call. But I really appreciate you taking the time to answer some of these questions, Chris, because I'm not seeing anything else coming in for questions. I think we went over a lot. You know, why would CBD oil be really beneficial? Like, there's so many reasons to take CBD.
New favorite flavor?
Oh yeah, what's your new favorite flavor of all the ones that came out?
I haven't. I've been trying to get the soft gels, to be honest, because they came out with the two big ones. Like, I think they're going to be game changers, and they're supposed to be back in stock tomorrow. But they have the CBD and curcumin. Okay. Which, if you already take like a turmeric curcumin supplement, like, they're not cheap, especially if you get like a quality one. Like, I mean, they're some of them like $40 for like a month supply, you know, so to already have it with 25 milligrams of broad spectrum CBD. And they work synergistically together. That's why the curcumin is paired with CBD. They have a synergistic effect. So I think for people that were looking for relief from pain, arthritis, joint things, muscle things, like, I think that the CBD curcumin soft gel is going to be the way to go. Is going to be big. And then they came out with the melatonin one, CBD and melatonin, which also have a synergistic effect. And melatonin is a supplement that I think is vastly underrated, especially, and maybe we planned the video for, where we talk about some radiation, 5G type things. And so people underestimate how much these electromagnetic frequencies, radiations, blue light, all of these things affect your melatonin levels. So people wonder why sleep disorders are skyrocketing. And it has more than just simple, I'm staring at, like, you know, a phone, or I'm watching TV at night. It has everything to do with blue light, you know, Wi-Fi, radiation, cell phone towers. All these things are interactive, but they just destroy your melatonin levels. So, you know, we came out with the CBD melatonin soft gel too. So I'm kind of trying to get my hands on both of those and add those kind of into my routine, because I'm already taking, like I said, the curcumin, which is expensive. So yeah, and these are well, you know, they just came out with a lot of these products, and a lot of those new flavors sold out like right away. So we even had to wait, like, I think it was like a little over a week to get the new stuff in. I was looking forward to the orange. Like, everyone, I think that was like the least popular one. Everyone wanted like the watermelon, watermelon guava, watermelon mint. Lemon lime. Like, I want the orange one. Yeah, no, we liked them all. We were able to try them all, but my favorite one was the watermelon mint. It just tastes like candy. Yeah. It kind of tastes like candy. Yeah. So that was the easiest. The strawberry guava I found to be
stronger. Like I felt like I could taste more of the hempy flavor with that one. But yeah, no, definitely went with the watermelon.
I have a hard time thinking that anything's going to steer me away from the cinnamon flavor. That's kind of like, that's been my go-to that I've come up, since they came out with that one. But
yeah, the cinnamon is always going to be a good one. What would you suggest for my daughter with epilepsy? Someone's asking on here.
I'm probably still on the 500 milligram.
500 milligram to start.
That's one, that was a particular one that I wrote a post on that one, and there's a lot of documented. That's one of the most studied ailments, conditions that CBD has looked at helping.
Yeah.
Is epilepsy. Then the next one is probably anxiety, depression, and then blood pressure.
Yeah, especially so for kids. So she can just order like a 500 and start her daughter on that. Would you recommend?
Yeah, and I would do a full spectrum.
Full spectrum 500 would be a good start, and you'd have 60 days. You could completely empty out the bottle. If it doesn't do anything for her to help her, then you can get all your money back. Babies under 1 are able to take CBD. Yes, it's safe for all ages. It's safe for pets. If you stop,
pet products are specific for pets too. There's an oil. There's a treat. I used to put the oil on the dog treats to just get a little more, just soak right into the treat. And,
yeah. Okay. It's a 250 mg for the pets, but you get 2 bottles for the price, right?
Yes.
And somebody is asking here, if you stop taking CBD, would symptoms that you had prior reappear? I guess that varies on
it's very hard
what
to
you're
say.
eating too, and that would be kind of like with TRS. It's like you don't want to have to detox every day. I thought detoxing would only be something I would do once a year for a couple months, but because there's so many things that are out of our control with, the poison in the air, water, soil, that kind of stuff can still creep back into your system, then it just became a maintenance thing for the detoxing for us. I think you still take your sprays, right?
That was one I knew that I was going to always take. I wasn't sure that we'd get down to the lower maintenance sprays. That was kind of something that we developed. I just thought I'd take the 5, but the TRS was a product that I knew from the beginning I was always going to take. And I did that one for the fact that they're spraying these toxic metals and things in the atmosphere. You can't avoid it.
Yeah.
So once you've done a complete detox, I don't think it would just be in your best interest to avoid reaccumulating things. I know people are like, well, I'm going to go off it for a couple months. That's fine. But when you can just do, 1 or 2 sprays a day and keep that kind of maintenance, keep those things from accumulating in the body. CBD is kind of the same way. I mean, I think that one is a product that you do take every day too. It's just how it works. It's just how it works with the body.
Just kind of becomes a bit of your daily, and so I'm pretty sure that answered most of it. So yeah, was there anything else that you wanted to add on that, or we good? I know you have a busy week and you probably have more meetings to attend, but I guess we'll do a 5G chat soon here. If you're able to squeeze in even half an hour in the future, just let me know, because
I got a good story.
Okay, perfect. I'll be excited for that one. But yeah, thanks for taking some time, Chris, and you guys, thanks for joining us today on the talk. So I'll go ahead
Good talking to you.